Thinking about feeling the need to come out and get on like a solo hike or something lately. I really think that's something everybody needs, but I don't know how many people are willing to recognize and acknowledge that need, because being with yourself is oftentimes, for me, like one of the scariest places you can be. But because you really have to, I don't know how to talk about this stuff. You don't have to do anything, but when you're alone, your mind, without a lot of external stimulation from others, your mind kind of starts going inward, and you'll start thinking about things. And when somebody says, I zoned out for a minute, you zone out, and when that happens, you really are kind of going to a place of self-examination, which I think a lot of people are afraid of. And the reason I think that is not because like I think people are afraid or weak or anything. The reason I think that is because most of my life, that's what I was afraid of, was looking inward, looking at myself, and starting to understand who I am as a person. For me, I was much more happy and comfortable with living my life through a personality that I constructed by often taking like the worst traits of others combined with my own compulsions, and just kind of letting that be the person who drove. I was very comfortable in that state, even though it wasn't leading to a comfortable life. It was comfortable on my mind and my spirit, because I didn't have to look at myself and sort through and try to figure out who I really am. I didn't have to try to understand that, because I just kind of had this baseline belief that whoever it is that I really am isn't good enough. Whoever that person is weird and not like everybody else, not normal. So anyway, that's why I like to get out here at these moments and just be by myself, well, with myself and the Lord and my trusty companion here, because honestly it's good to have him with me, because I don't have to pay much attention to him. So I don't know if something were to happen, man, I've got somebody that ain't gonna leave my side. I could freaking, I'm telling you guys, when I zone out, I don't know how like y'all zone out, but when I zone out, I'll have my eyes wide open. I might be looking at you, but I'm not seeing anything from this reality. Like when I zone out, when I really let myself sink in, I'm in a completely different place. Even though my body is walking through these woods, my eyes are open, my head is pointing straight, this is not where I'm at. So, not to scare anybody, mama or pops or papa or anybody, but I could like walk, I could twist my ankle, you know what I mean? Like if I get to really zoning out, but it's worth that risk to me to take the time to get into that place where I can examine myself. I'm a big believer in the concept of self-study, which really was introduced to me back in like 2019 by my friend Matt. I don't want to say your last name, Matt, but you know who you are. But that was a concept he introduced me. I love you, brother. I love you, brother. And this is one of the many reasons why. But he introduced me to this concept of self-study. And it's something that when he started kind of talking about that, it was something that I was like, I didn't know what I was needing in my life at the time. I knew things were a mess, and I was taking some drastic measures to get it under control, but I didn't know like what I needed. I mean, I already had faith. I already believed in God. I have a good, loving family. So I wasn't sure what was missing, and that's kind of the the thing, it didn't just happen in one moment. I spent a lot of time with Matt, and we talked about a lot of things, or we talk about a lot of things when we do. So it unfolded over some time. But when I started to understand that concept of self-study, it was just like, that's what I need. Like, that's what I'm not doing. I'm not allowing myself to see myself. I don't know who I am because I haven't been allowing myself to pay attention to see who I am. You know, I've just been so convinced that whoever that is, everything I just said is not going to be accepted, is not going to be accepted by friends and family and things like that. But so yeah, so I leaned heavy into self-study, and it wasn't easy at first. And that's why that's why I say that I believe most people are afraid to do this, is because I was terrified. And even when I started to lean into it, even when I was introduced to the concept and it made sense and it clicked that this is what I need, it was worse than an uphill battle. It was more than an uphill battle. I mean, it was like an uphill battle with one broken ankle and a missing hand. Like, it was hard, you know. Like, it seemed like something that was just not doable. But I kept leaning into it and kept leaning into it, no matter how uncomfortable it was. And I believe, I hate saying I feel like, I don't know, it's a turn of phrase or whatever, but I don't feel any, these are things that I believe that that process has worked for me, or is working for me. You know, I'm a work in progress, and I think I always will be. So I don't want to say that I don't want to say any of this with any hubris, like I think I've reached some pinnacle or anything. I don't. But I think the practice of self-study is what's brought me to such a better position in life than what I was in before. And it's strengthened my faith and my beliefs, which even though I have my faith and I have my beliefs, like, I've challenged that faith and those beliefs as hard as probably anybody can challenge them, and through this self-study process, and it's just made them stronger, and it's instilled more conviction in me. And again, I'm not the shining example of anything. I'm not trying to make any type of claim like that, but anyway, that's what these solo journeys here out through the woods and adventures do for me, is they allow me into that space of self-study. Because when I get out with multiple people, which is what I love, I love bringing people together. I love being with like my inner circle. I love being with my inner and outer circle. I would like my outer circle to be my inner circle. I want them all in my inner circle, you know. But as much as I like to be with those people, it does demand so much of my attention that it takes me away from this self-study practice that I try to stay actively engaged in. So I've got to schedule these times for myself, or I didn't schedule this, it's just how it worked out. But something I do have to make sure is that I'm setting aside time to do things like this for myself. And again, I'm doing all this yapping because I think everybody should. I think, maybe coming out in the woods and walking around ain't your thing, but I think everybody should start learning, if you haven't already, start learning to just start learning to pay attention to yourself. You know, if you do a thing, ask yourself, just start with asking yourself a simple question, like, why did I do that? I don't know, like, even for me, like, I ask myself silly questions like, why do I eat frosted mini wheats? You know, I like to understand who I am, but anyway, just start with something. Ask yourself simple questions, and if you allow yourself time, the answers will start coming to you. If you keep going back to that place of self-examination, recognizing things about yourself, asking questions of yourself as to, why is this? The answers will start coming to you, and I think I'm kind of talking about essentially like meditation here. you know, if you meditate on these things, like I have a saying that you should do two things: pray and meditate. And what I tell people is, praying is talking to God, meditating is listening. So I think that if you just go to those places, ask yourself the questions, the answers will start coming, and you'll be able to start putting the pieces together of who you truly are as a person. I just think everybody should do that, or at least consider it, even though it's terrifying, which it is. But I don't know. I think no matter how horrible your situation is, if you really start to do that, you'll be pleasantly surprised as to what you find.